This will be a quick little video on how to solve equations. When we solve equations, there's two important things. The first being to do the opposite operation. This means if it's saying to do plus, we do minus. If it's saying to do times, we do divide. If it's telling us to divide, we do times. If it's telling us to minus, we do plus. It's important to do the opposite. The second is to make sure you do the same thing to both sides. So if you're going to add it to this side, make sure on the other side you also add it. If you're going to subtract it, on the other side you have to subtract it. Looking at some examples, x plus 4 equals to 13. We know what the operation is. We know what's going on. It's adding. We're adding 4. So we have to do the opposite, which is minus 4. And remember, if we do it to one side, we have to do it to the other side. So that becomes x plus 4 equals to 13 minus 4, they cancel out, and this minus 4, x equals to 13 minus 4, which equals to 9. The next one, 3 times, if you don't see anything, is a times, w equals to 12. What is the opposite operation to times? Divide. So we did w equals to 12 divide by 3, which equals to 4. Next one, 2 times x equals to 18. We need x by itself. Get rid of that minus the 2. How do we do it? What is it doing right now? It's times it. We do it by dividing by 2. We're doing the opposite. The last one, w over 2, or divide by 2, that equals to 6. What operation is it doing? It's doing divide. We do the opposite, which is times. So we do w equals 6 times 2, which equals to 12. Onto a bit of harder one. Here we see two operations. Here we have times, and here we have plus. We want to touch this part last. We want the letters last. We have to get rid of anything before. So we're going to keep the letters 7w. I'm going to get rid of this plus 13. How do I get rid of plus 13? What's the opposite? Minus 13. And remember, anything we do to this side, we have to do to that side as well. So we're going to minus 13 on this side as well. So plus 13 minus 13, that just cancels out. So we're left with nothing. 7w plus nothing. 19 minus 13 equals to 77. And now, we got 7w. We just want 1w. How do we go from 7 to 1? We divide it by 7. So we divide this side by 7 as well. And 77 divided by 7 is 11. So w equals to 11. The next one. You got, again, two separate operations. You have times and you have minus. So we got to keep the 12p, keep the numbers, the letters the same, keep the letter, do the numbers first. Get rid of this minus 18. How do I get rid of this minus 18? What's the opposite? The opposite is plus 18. So on this side, we have to also plus 18. What is minus 18 plus 18? Nothing. It cancels out, it's 0. And we're left with 30 plus 18, which is 48. And how do I get 1p? How do I go from 12p to 1p? Remember, we do the opposite. Right now it's times, we divide. So we have to do divide by 12 on this side. 48 divided by 12 is 4. And the last one, you got 9w minus 5 equals 67. Again, we have one operation and another operation. We have to do the opposite. So remember, keep your w's. We want to get rid of the numbers first. So 9w, what's the opposite of minus 5? Add 5. And what we do to this side, we have to do to this side. So we'll add 5 here as well. Minus 5 plus 5 cancels out. We're left with 9w equals to 67 plus 5, which equals to 72. And then how do we get 1w? How do we get not 1w? What is 9 and w doing together? The times in. What's the opposite of times in? Divided. So we divide this side by 9 as well. 72 divided by 9, which equals to 8. On to a bit more trickier questions. Here we have x plus 1. Here's one operation. All divided by 2. X plus 1 divided by 2, which equals to 9. Remember, we can only touch the x last. We have a plus, we'll divide by 2, which we have to get rid of in order to touch the plus 1 and the x. So we have to remember, get rid of anything on the bottom. How do we get rid of anything on the bottom? Well, right now it's dividing. What's the opposite of dividing? Timesing. So we times both sides by 2. And this 2 cancels out. So we're left with x plus 1 equals to 9 times 2, which is 18. And now we can get x by itself. We can get rid of this plus 1. What's the opposite of plus 1? Minus 1. Remember, if we do it to this side, we got to do it to this side. Cancels out. And 18 minus 1 is 17. Second question is the same thing. We have to get rid of the bottom number to get x. How do I get rid of dividing by 4? This 4 is dividing. We get rid of this divided by 4 by times by 4. So we times this side by 4 as well. These two cancel out, so we're left with x minus 3 equals to, what's 8 times 4? 32. And I want x by itself. How do I get rid of that minus 3? We do the opposite, which is plus 3. Plus 3. 35. X equals to 35.